You're watching Nerdosity.
Hey, what's up, Nerdosity? This is your host, Tiger at Cosplay, coming at you. And today, I'm coming back at you with a top list of Nerdosity. So, cartoons. Notoriously viewed as for kids, or kid-friendly, or not worth an adult's time. Anime, too, actually, in that regard. But that's just not true. Like, lots of cartoons have some, real world and dark moments that can resonate with adults as well as children, and some aren't suited for children at all, aka Family Guy, aka Archer, aka basically all of that TV network's cartoons, to be honest. Also, the villains can be, kind of bonkers, just bonkers, whether it's G-rated or not. So here are my top 10 best, or you know what, maybe worst, cartoon villains. Please beware spoilers for Totally Spies, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Jackie Chan Adventures, Teen Titans, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Generator X, Danny Phantom, Amphibian, the 90s Spider-Man, and Over the Garden Wall. Let's get into it. So, we start off our list with number 10, the different villains from Totally Spies. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't put Totally Spies on this list, even though there isn't an overarching villain on the show. I'd be remiss if I didn't add Totally Spies anywhere in this channel because I frickin' love it. Even so, the villains that pop up each episode may seem wacky on the outside, but the implications of their work are actually insane and, dark, because it can vary from mass mind control to mass extinction. And, all of these villains have absolutely no chill whatsoever. They go from 0 to 100 instantly. They will do whatever it takes to get whatever they want. For instance, one lady kidnapped a bunch of women to harvest their hair and then was going to kill them afterwards if the spies didn't stop her. Another lady wanted to harvest different women's body parts to make the ultimate model. And then was going to kill them afterwards. They're just going to dispose of them. One guy kidnapped a bunch of Nobel Prize winners to take their brains and give them to his son so he could be the smartest kid on Earth. Another lady was force-feeding cookies to people to make them fat and then explode because she was bullied for being fat. And then a different guy kidnapped all the world's leaders to dispose of them and then replace them with his own animatronic robots. Can you find what sense this makes? They have absolutely no chill. Most of the villains start off as regular people who just get slightly wrong, ever so slightly wronged, and then they just go off the deep end. Just whoosh, gone. Gone. It's actually insane. I mean, one dude became so evil because he got in trouble for cheating on a test, and his brother, who cheated on the same test, didn't get in trouble. That would be like if I got a hangnail and then killed my whole entire family because of it, or wanted to kill my whole entire family because of it. It's like, you made my nails, but at least none of the villains succeed, or else the kill count would be insanely high in this show.
Hey, those are my legs!
Correction. They were your legs. Now they belong to Picture Perfect, just like your friend's body parts are about to.
Prepare to be modelized.
Anyway, let's go to number 9. All right. Does anybody besides me actually remember Jackie Chan Adventures? It was an amazing show, with Jackie Chan as the lead, and by golly, did it have some amazing villains. But even though there are literal demons in this world, I want to talk about the main antagonistic group, the Dark Hand / the Enforcers. Humans, by the way. Like I said, demons are in this world. They are fully real and they come to Earth and wreak havoc, but I'm going to talk about the humans. They aren't the worst guys on this list, or even the most prolific where villainy is concerned. They're not even the worst guys in this show, but they're still smarmy and evil nonetheless, icky. The first season has them working for a demon named Shendu. To bring him back to life, basically selling out all of humanity just for a quick buck. I mean, Shendu was like, you want some treasure? Just basically damn the human race so I can control it and kill everybody that I want. And you can get some treasure. And they're just like, yeah, sounds good to me. And In the second season, when they succeed, but then Shendu mostly gets killed by Jackie Chan, he then quickly possesses the leader of this group, Valmont, to raise his demon brothers and sisters, eventually rewriting history where they rule the world. And the Dark Hand follows Shendu for cash. Still, even though humanity is enslaved. You see the problem here? Like, they didn't, apparently. These bozos with delusions of grandeur every season were thrown like fodder at Jackie C, just to lose every single time. But they did it for petty reasons, like cash, or weird dragon powers. For constantly following literal demons who want to enslave the world, and you, because you are humans, the least you can do is ask for something that will actually be worth anything when the demons win. Selling the human race for cash, extremely basic, you know? Super basic, and just not smart. But you know, sprinkle in some demons, idiocy, and child abuse, because they do that a lot, and you get some classically bad villains. No, seriously, like the amount of times that they literally fight Jade and Paco is insane. You do know these are like 10-year-old children, right? Okay.
Whoa. Big V, what are you doing? Raising Cain.
Now we go to number 8, which is Avatar: The Last Airbender. No, he's not the villain. We're gonna talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender. Atlas was like amazing show with equally insane villains, from the mass murderer Firelord Ozai to his crazy daughter Azula, all the way to the weirdly sexy assassin with a pet rat and the secret police Dai Li, who were basically the Illuminati. The classic decision would be to talk about Ozai, since his kill count was so high, he's basically a souped-up Hitler. But I want to go the unconventional way and talk about an equally scary person in a different sort of feeling. Former water tribe bender Hama. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about her. Her story starts out sad and endearing. Prisoner of war, subjected to terrible conditions, torture, and dehumanization. She creates a whole new bending form during a full moon, called bloodbending, and escapes. But instead of just going back home or not continuing the cycle of violence, she decides to live in a small Fire Nation village and kidnap Fire Nation people every full moon with bloodbending to imprison them just like they imprisoned her. You know, classic revenge story, right? She forces Katara to learn the bloodbending art by threatening Aang and Sokka with death. This was all to make sure that the art would not die with her, and also that Fire Nation revenge isn't stopped or lost, you know? Katara learns it just to save her friends, and it breaks her, like mentally just destroys her. It's deeply traumatizing for Katara, especially when Hama has a Joker-esque smile and laugh, and she gets hauled away by the Fire Nation police. Sometimes the villains just aren't black and white. She freaked me out. That episode was wild.
You're going to be locked away forever.
My work is done. Congratulations, Katara. You're a bloodbender.
Now we come into number 7 with Teen Titans, an amazing show until it was recycled into the garbage go that we have today, but at least it ain't anything like Velma, am I right? Silver lining, frick. The first iteration was real and gritty at times, while also bringing a nice levity that DC shows rarely ever do. Like, they are dark all the time. Even like the G-rateds, even like the kids stuff. Like, they are dark. Even so, Teen Titans just hit different. They did it different. They weren't dark. It was easy to consume for any age, exactly because of the balance between the realness and the comedy. For villains, Slade was definitely the most seen and evil one of the show, seriously tormenting Robin and putting a lot of teens in danger. And the Hive members were just hilariously annoying. I hated them every single moment they popped up on the screen. But I want to talk about Raven's dad, Trigun. Not only is he a large demon who wants to basically destroy the earth, and he almost does by turning almost everything into stone, but he's also a horribly abusive and an absentee father. Enough said.
Farewell, dear daughter. may have retained some trace of my power, but you are still no threat to me, little girl. I am your creator.
Now we go on to number 6. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is one of the most prolific cartoons from the start of them, besides Marvel and DC. Even kids nowadays know Donatello and Leonardo just like they know Spider-Man and Bluey. And through all iterations of the Mutant Tees, except maybe the Rise of the Ninja Tees, Shredder is the biggest evil that needs to be taken out. When the Turtles meet him, he uses his henchmen, wayward teens, weird mutant folk, anyone he can get his hands on, and calls them the Foot Clan, right? To commit various acts of petty thievery, kidnapping, brutality, murder, just to draw out the Turtles and Splinter to continue his revenge against the wood-based rat. He also teams up with Krang, evil brain-looking aliens who want to wipe out the entire human race to take Earth for themselves, again, for his petty revenge plot. And even though he is ruthless and ready to commit any atrocity to torture and kill Splinter, his real villainy starts way before his disfigurement and Splinter's transformation. Shredder was once like a brother to Splinter before they both fell in love with the same woman. But when the woman chooses Splinter, Shredder decides to kill Splinter by burning him alive in the dojo where they both grew up. Unbeknownst to Shredder, the woman was also in there with Splinter, and when he tried to save her, she was killed, and Shredder was horribly disfigured. So, instead of being more sane than he's been all of his life, he decides instead to kidnap the daughter that they both had that was also inside of the burning building, and then decides to twist her mind, basically just muddle with her mind to make her into an evil villain that he can control. And he thinks that Splinter dies. Fortunately, he does not. So Splinter is able to fight another day to create the TMNTs and destroy Shredder once and for all. But yeah, a man who can't take no for an answer is truly one of the worst evils of them all.
You will be mine to care for now, little one.
Now we are in the number 5s, alright? And let's be honest, we all knew that I was going to talk about Spider-Man. And you probably knew I was going to be talking about the 1994 version if you listened to the spoiler alert. But I bet you didn't know that I was going to talk about the most prolific villain in that series, Kingpin. Basically, in all of the episodes, he was the main antagonist of the series, and for good reason, too. He was basically the reason for every villain on the show, forcing Osborn to create the Hobgoblin, and then Osborn went crazy and became the Green Goblin. He created the Sinister Six. He blackmailed and forced many people to do his bidding. He created a human mech out of a rival's orphaned son because Kingpin killed the rival. You know, all bad things. But the show isn't lying when they call him the biggest and best crime lord, because he basically causes all the crime in the city, whether it's indirectly or very much so directly. He is constantly at Spider-Man's throat, willing to kill this man like Kingpin killed his own father, okay? And allows all of his lackeys to use lethal force in any situation as well. He has killed numerous people on and off the show, and is constantly disfiguring his men to throw like fodder at Spider-Man and the rest of New York. He was also super cool with killing Captain America and Felicia Hardy's dad just to get the super soldier serum to make himself even more invincible. Talk about a guy on a power trip. You can't get too evil and murdery in a 90s kids cartoon, but a lot of the episodes were rather dark, all things considering, but in a more subtle way than the rest of our list. Kingpin was basically the catalyst for all of the evil in New York, including the death of Mary Jane. And you would think when I say the death of Mary Jane that I was just joking, but I'm not, because the worst part about this is that the show got canceled before any resolution was thought up, and we never get to see if Mary Jane was actually alive since her death wasn't on screen. And Kingpin never gets his just desserts. Never.
I quickly became known as the Kingpin. I used my mastery of technology to break into the law enforcement computer system and to eradicate all records of my previous criminal identity. Only one thing remained to link me to the past. Now, it's your turn.
I knew you were ruthless, but this...
The sacrifices must be made.
Alright, number 4. Generator Rex. Yeah, it seems like I only know it whenever I ask friends or other people, like, have you seen Generator Rex? No, apparently not. But it was an amazingly good show with an equally good plot line, lost in the dredges because it was way ahead of its time. Rex, the titular character, mainly fights mutated monsters that he can fix because he can control his mutations on the inside. But the overarching villain is Van Cleis. He's an evil man who can also control his mutation, albeit not as well as Rex. Even though he wasn't the only person who created the mass issue of the mutation known as nanites, he did kill the other people on the team to keep all the power for himself and rule the world that would be entirely run by the mutated monsters. And those people happened to be Rex's parents. He, also created like super unstable mutations and then either killed or mutated a whole butt ton of other people. But parental homicide and child abuse / endangerment makes for a more evil villain.
You'll find that using your powers will be something of a challenge. The nanites that make you so special belong to me now.
What shall I do with him, Master?
I have everything I need from him. I could care less.
Alright, we are reaching the top bits of our list, and starting with number 3 is Danny Phantom. It's one of my favorite shows, and definitely probably my favorite Nickelodeon show. It's one of those superhero shows that you can watch over and over and over again because everything works out for everyone good. I think the greatest superhero movies can have immense peril, but triumph at the end without major losses of life, and Danny Phantom did this well. Marvel folks of nowadays, take note. Please stop killing my favorite superheroes. You're making everything dark like DC. Most people will talk about Vlad in this list, considering he's a womanizing misogynist and also a coward, and constantly threatens the life of children and Danny's dad. But he also is the reason of the worst evil that comes to be. Dark Danny. One of the worst villain stories is one that happens to the major hero of the story that turns evil because of a loss of hope and self-worth. And we see this happening to Danny in Season 2, Episodes 8 through 9. After cheating on a test, Danny's friends and family, including one teacher, die due to an exploding vat of chemicals while discussing his future. Danny was able to survive, but couldn't save the people he loved and became guilt-ridden and depressed. Soon he turned to Vlad for help to rip his ghost self from his human body, to just not have those emotions anymore. This backfired, causing his ghost form to amplify the bad feelings. Ghost Danny then ripped Vlad from his ghost self and merged with Vlad's ghost, taking over completely, but becoming evil in the process due to Vlad's evil persona. He then killed his human self on screen, blew up Vlad's home with Vlad in it, and then committed mass murder and other atrocities all over his town and the world to satiate his desire for revenge and plain old evil. Valerie, the ghost hunter, was finally able to erect a ghost shield over Amity Park, but not before so much damage was done and hope was virtually lost. The implications of all of this are just so terrifying, considering we have to watch a child get murdered by a ghost. His ghost self. And also that past Danny has to watch all of this and know his future, becoming super evil and killing many people to stop this future from coming to pass. Those episodes wrecked my ish.
And it was all your fault!
Actually, that was me. And you, eventually. Sam and Tucker, it's been a while. To what do I owe this little blast from the past?
Alright, this one's a long one, but I got to rant. and it's number 2, the most recent entry on our list, besides kind of like the Rise of the Mutant Ninja Turtles, but we gon' push that away. And it almost beat out the first of my list, if the first of my list wasn't so absolutely terrifying. And that villain is Darcy, from the amazing show Amphibia. If you haven't seen Amphibia, because it seems like one of those stupid new kid shows that substitutes good writing for slapstick and bodily humor mixed with idiotic plot lines that would only make sense to a 3-year-old or a person on crack, well, that only happens in the first 3 episodes, so get through it. Alright, get through it. It's so amazing from then on out. Seriously, it's like the most overtly dark show I've ever seen that still labels it as a kid's show even in this time today. I mean, it's not like it wasn't like it's 2007. This thing was 2022. I mean, you have 3 missing tweens in modern times that get transported to a magical realm for almost a whole year. And 2 of these kids don't make it out for at least 3 years. And they are in constant danger, like, all the time. The only reason they survive is because, yes, plot armor. And also serious luck that has been translated from really good writing and still being a kid's show. Except, oh wait, one of them dies! Almost. But okay, I mean, she has a sword driven through her heart and collapses after that. I'm sorry. How is this a kid's show? The girl that almost dies, Marcy, has a weird metal spider monster helmet put on her that has a collection of minds from many generations of this magical realm that legitimately put her mind to sleep before they delete her mind moments later. Seriously, how the frick is this a kid's show? Fine, I'll continue. This collection calls themselves Dark Marcy, aka Darcy, and then wages a war on Amphibia to make the citizens submit to them, which they basically succeed in, before waging a war on Earth through the power of a magical realm portal. They then terrorize and torture many citizens of the magic realm and commits what can only be called mass murder on Earth. Off screen though. Darcy is manipulative, cunning, bloodthirsty, and willing to take down anyone who stands in their way, including their former friends. I say they because it's the collection of minds, since Marcy actually ain't there right now. And they were like super close to just killing Sasha before Sasha was able to stop the creature and free Marcy once again, who had shown signs of still retaining her mind, thank goodness. Okay, I can see why it's back to being a kid's show, but you had me worried there. I mean, seriously, you did. But while she was evil, she was terrifyingly smart and would have destroyed both worlds if the collective mind wasn't distracted by the King Andreas, trying to wrench away from their mind control. But then, the helmet spider crawls away after being cut from Marcy and turns gigantic, like a gigantic, world-size, to destroy everything, everywhere. Like serious yandere, like seriously, because literally it was upset about losing and decides if it's gonna die anyway, I'm gonna take everything with it. The girls beat it, obviously, but not without our main character Anne losing her life, and then she makes a deal with a sentient cat spirit to gain it back for a few years because the cat spirit wants Anne to take its place of like controlling the threads of the universe. Okay, you lost me again. Yeah, honestly, I could talk more about the head spider creature, like the fact that it caused all of the issues in the beginning of the show as well, but I only have so much time, and I spent a lot of it on this. Just a lot of it confused as well. Just goes to show that a whole bunch of old adults have a real easy time manipulating a child's brain to do what they want. Yeah, that sounds really bad. And super evil. So yeah, Darcy is number 2.
What have you done with Marcy?
She's up here with us. It's how we recognized your little ruse. War of the Warlocks. Very cute.
Give us our friend, or I'll rip that helmet off and take her back.
Your friend? Don't be silly. You're not friends. Not anymore. In examining Marcy's memories, it's doubtful you ever were.
Sasha, don't listen to this thing. Ah, the famous Anne. Dumber than a bag of rocks, and yet somehow this rebellion's last hope. Oh, don't you want to know what she really thinks of you? It doesn't matter what she thinks of me. I'm here to save her and stop you. Well then. Let's rumble, girlfriend.
So, now you're probably asking, who could possibly be a cataclysmic world ender like Darcy? And I'll get to that, because it's number 1, the Beast from Over the Garden Wall. I know what you're thinking. Whoa, not a world ender. It's basically a tree, and it got beat by a 6-year-old with the power of love and his older brother. And yes, that's technically true. But the fact that it's also labeled as a kid's show, and that the tree represents evil itself, you know, basically evil incarnate, okay? I think it ekes out a win. This tree has been killing kid after kid after kid after kid for years by causing them to become so depressed that they commit pseudo-suicide. And he manipulates adults in the large forest, extremely huge forest of now children trees to cut down the trees, make the wood into oil, and burn it in a lamp to keep the beast's spirit alive so that the beast can continue luring kids into the freaky forest and perpetuate his mass child torture and murder. This is all explained to us through 12 episodes, 10 minutes long, and the only reason the boys win is because Greg sacrificed himself for Wirt so that Wirt wouldn't succumb to the depression and literally die. This 6-year-old child sacrificed himself to a child murdering tree. Wirt loved his brother more than he felt bad, which is amazing and great, and then was able to use his intellect to realize that if he blew out the lamp, he would be able to kill the beast. So, does the beast die at the end? I think so. I mean, it's not directly said, but I think he does, for sure. But the kids traveled a very, very, very long time through a never-ending forest. I mean, seasons change during this. And like, I wholly believe that in the unknown, time is like quicker. Time goes by quicker than it does in the real world, because otherwise they wouldn't pop right back out when they first like started going into the unknown. And we all know that the unknown is real because at the very end, Greg still has his frog, and the frog has the bell that helped Lorna escape from her terrifying spirit demon that was inside of her. So we all know it's real, but the time has to work different, because otherwise this huge forest, and it has to be a forest because it is humongous, could not otherwise be filled with all of these trees. And these trees are dead children trees whose spirits still wail, still cry out, along with the call of the beast.
Yes, yes, all hope will soon be lost. We're lucky the boy had the pluck to best you. Your play could have cost us both. Don't you care about keeping the lantern lit? Don't you care about your daughter's soul? No, there is only me. There is only my way. There is only the forest, and there is only surrender.
Villains are never good, you know? But written well, they can be great for the story and believably evil. Definitely wasn't fun watching all of these psychos wreak havoc, but having the heroes finally overcome them was totally amazing. I love to hate these villains, and I hope you guys do too. If you agree with my list, please comment down below, or if you think I missed someone on my list, comment that person down below. And make sure you also like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. You've been watching Nerdosity, and I will see you next time. Bye!